As I sighed entering the room, I was greeted by the sight of two beautiful bunny girls. Whether it's Haruhi or Asahina, they both suit the costume well. A large part of their backs and cleavage were exposed, the net stockings wrapping their legs nicely. Haruhi is skinny but has the right proportions. Asahina is small, but her figure is also perfect. To be honest, they really are a feast to behold with the eyes. Just as I was wondering whether to say the costume suits you to a crying Asahina, Haruhi said,
"What do you think?"
"You still have the nerve to ask me what I think? Is your skull badly damaged?"
This is gonna be great. It's gonna grab everyone's attention. At this rate, people will definitely come to get the flyers.
If you wear such strange costumes out in the open, people are gonna look at you funny. Wait, how come Nagato-san doesn't have to wear one?
I only bought 2 sets. Since they come with accessories, they're very expensive.
Where'd you buy this stuff anyway?
On the net.
I see. Just as I was wondering when Haruhi became taller than me, I noticed she was wearing high-heeled shoes as well. Haruhi picked up the paper bag containing the flyers.
Let's go, Mikuru-chan.
Asahina crossed her arms in front of her chest and looked at me pleadingly. I could only stare at her in her bunny girl outfit. "I'm sorry, I just couldn't dredge up any resistance." Asahina tried to grab the table and resist, sobbing like a kid, but she was no match for Haruhi's strength. She was dragged away by Haruhi and the 2 bunny girls disappeared from the room. Just as I sat down dejectedly, feeling guilty of myself,
That.
Nagato pointed on the ground. I looked and saw 2 sailor uniforms lying there. Is that a bra I just saw? The short-haired spectacled girl pointed at the cabinet at the other side of the room and then went back to reading her book. "Can't you pick up the clothes yourself?" I sighed and went to pick up their clothes, placing them in a cabinet. You could feel their body heat on the clothes. They're still warm. Half an hour later, an exhausted Asahina returned. Whoa, her eyes were as red as a bunny's. I'd better not say anything yet. I quickly gave her a chair, and like last time, she simply sat and drooped across the table, her shoulders shivering. Looks like she doesn't even have the strength to change. But facing that naked back of hers, I didn't know where else to look, so I took off my jacket and draped it across her shivering shoulders. The presence of a sobbing girl and a bookworm who didn't care about what was going on, along with me who was at a loss with what to do, had brought the atmosphere of the room to an all-time low. The screams of the baseball club could be heard in the distance. As I was about to think of what was for dinner that night, Haruhi returned. The first thing she did was scowl angrily.
Damn them! What the hell? Those damn teachers, they always get in the way.
Not sure why she was so angry, I asked, "Is there a problem?"
I hadn't even handed out half the flyers and in comes a stupid teacher asking us to stop handing them out. What the hell is wrong with them?
You moron! If teachers ignored something like students dressing up as bunny girls and handing out flyers at the school entrance, then that would be abnormal.
Mikuru-chan was nearly in tears and I got taken to see the principal. And then that Okabe freak showed up. Ugh!
I bet the principal and Okabe-sensei probably didn't know where to place their eyes when looking at you dressed like that.
Man, this pisses me off. That's it for today. Dismissed.
Haruhi slowly took off her bunny ears and then proceeded to remove her bunny girl costume. I immediately rushed out of the room.
How long are you gonna cry like that? Hurry up and change.
I leaned on the corridor wall and waited for them to change. Seems like Haruhi isn't really a born exhibitionist. She just has no idea what effect the sight of her being half naked would have on guys. The reason she dressed up as a bunny girl wasn't really to show off her sexy body, but rather to attract people's attention. At this rate, there's no way she can experience a normal romantic relationship. I wish she could be more considerate of how guys think. At least be more considerate of me. Honestly, to hang out with such a crazy person is really exhausting. Besides, for Asahina's sake, I had to wish for that. Right, and Nagato-san, at least let us know what your opinion is. A while later, Asahina emerged from the room, giving a sad expression of someone who had just failed all her exams. She needed to support herself on the wall or she would surely fall over. Not knowing what to say to her, I could only stand in silence.
Yon-kun,
Her dreamy voice sounded like one of those ghosts from a haunted cruise ship.
if something should happen so I could not become a bride, will you take me?
What should I say? And why are you calling me Kion as well? Asahina returned my jacket to me in a robotic way. Just as I was wondering if she would fall into my chest and cry, she'd already walked away. Damn, such a pity. The next day, Asahina took the day off. Haruhi was already famous enough in the school, but after the bunny girl incident, her name and eccentricity had become the stuff of school legends. Not that I really mind, since I'm not really responsible for Haruhi's actions. What I did mind was Suzumiya Haruhi's actions had caused everyone to start gossiping about Asahina as well. That, and the odd glares I received from everyone in the school.
Hey Kyo, it seems like you're having a fun time with Suzumiya. I never thought you would become good friends with her. Looks like nothing is impossible in this world.
Oh, shut up!
I was surprised yesterday, seeing bunny girls when I was heading home. Oh wow, I thought I was dreaming.
Kunikita joined the conversation carrying a familiar flyer with him.
What is this SOS Brigade? What's it about?
Go ask Haruhi that question. I don't know, nor do I want to. Even if I did, I don't feel like telling you.
It asks us to provide any paranormal events, but it doesn't really define what those are. And, what does it mean by not handling normal paranormal events?
Even Azakura Ryoko came to have a word with me.
You guys seem to be doing some interesting things. But if it's something that's way overboard, I advise you to stop it once. Honestly, you guys went too far yesterday.
If I had known, I would have taken the day off as well. Haruhi was still mad. On one hand, she was mad that the teachers stopped her from handing out the flyers. On the other hand, she was mad that the SOS Brigade email inbox was completely empty. I expected one or two prank emails in the inbox, but it turns out people were more rational than I thought. Perhaps no one wanted to have anything to do with Haruhi and get themselves in trouble. Haruhi scowled at the empty inbox, shaking her optical mouse vigorously.
Why isn't anyone sending any mail in?
There weren't any yesterday nor today. Maybe everyone does have experiences they could tell, they just couldn't trust a suspicious-looking club like ours. Have you experienced any paranormal events? Yes. Oh, that's great, then please tell me. Alright, actually, please, it's not as if something like that would actually happen, okay? Now listen, Haruhi, those sorts of things only occur in manga or novels. Real life is very cruel and strict. Things like a conspiracy to destroy the world from a normal high school, mutant organizations wandering in a peaceful suburban area, or a spaceship hidden inside a mountain are all impossible. Impossible, you hear me? You understand now, don't you? All your eccentric behavior is a result of you not being able to find an outlet for your unhappy emotions. Isn't that right? But it's time for you to wake up. You should settle down and find a boyfriend who would take you home every day and to the movies on Sundays. Or maybe you should join some sports club to release your excess energy. With your abilities, you'd get into the first team in no time, becoming an active member. I had wanted to say more, but I had only thought up to 5 lines when Haruhi's fist came waving over, so I'd better stop there.
Mikuru-chan took the day off, I hear.
Maybe she's not coming back. Such a poor girl. I hope she wasn't traumatized by yesterday's events.
Damn, and I prepared a new costume for her to try on today.
Can't you try him on yourself?
Of course I can. It's just it'll be too boring without Mikuru-chan.
Nagato blended in with the background as if she were invisible. Why are you so obsessed with Asahina? Why can't you for once try the costume on Nagato and force her to play along? I know I shouldn't say this, but thinking about it, I'd like to see how the normally expressionless Nagato would look in that bunny girl costume. She'd definitely give off a different feeling from the often crying Asahina. The transfer student Haruhi had expected had finally arrived. Haruhi told me the news before homeroom one day.
Don't you think it's great? He's really coming!
Haruhi leaned towards me, speaking excitedly. Her bright smile was like a kindergartner finally getting the toy she wants. I don't know where she heard it from, but the transfer student was going to be in class 9.
This is a chance in a lifetime. It's a pity he isn't in the same class, but he's definitely a mysterious transfer student. There's no mistake.
You haven't even met him, so how do you know he's a mysterious transfer student?
Didn't I say it before? A high percentage of those that get transferred in the middle of the school term are abnormal.
Who on earth made such a statistic? I guess that in itself is a mystery. If everyone who gets transferred in the middle of May is abnormal, then there'd be loads of mysterious transfer students all over Japan. but Haruhi's way of thinking cannot be confined by logic. After the first period bell rang, Haruhi instantly ran out of the classroom. She probably went to visit the mysterious transfer student in class 9. Just before the bell rang to signal the beginning of the next class, Haruhi returned with a confused face. So, is he a mysterious transfer student?
Doesn't feel like one.
Of course he doesn't.
I did talk to him, but I still don't have enough information. Maybe he's just putting up a front as a normal person. I believe that's highly probable. After all, it's not like they would expose their real identities on the first day that they transferred. Then again, I can just go ask again at recess.
Please don't go ask again. I could imagine the class 9 students who had nothing to do with Haruhi being scared to death by her sudden appearance while she grabbed one of their students to ask, "Where's the mysterious transfer student?" That, or she would barge in when he was having a conversation with his friends to interrogate him with questions like, "Where are you from? Who are you really?" At that moment, I thought of something else. Is the transfer student a guy or a girl?
Though there's a possibility of disguise, he appears to be a guy.
Then he is a guy. Seems like the SOS Brigade has a chance of recruiting another male member besides me. Haruhi might just drag that transfer student in without hearing his opinion simply because he's new. But he may not be as nice as me or Asahina. Can she really bring him into the club? No matter how strong-willed Haruhi is, someone with a strong opinion could simply ignore her. As long as we have the numbers, the SOS Brigade would be formed as an association, whether the school recognizes it or not. The person that has to do all the paperwork and menial tasks is most likely to be me. For the next 3 years, I will have to carry the name subordinate of Suzumiya Haruhi and live my days in despair. I hadn't thought of what I want to do when I graduate, but I knew that I wanted to go to a university, so I had to watch my behavior. But as long as I'm with Haruhi, it seems that that wish could never become true. What should I do? I couldn't think of anything. I know I should have just confronted Haruhi and had her dismiss the SOS Brigade, and then tried my best to persuade her to live a normal high school life. Perhaps I could have gotten her to stop thinking about aliens and time travelers and settle down and find a boyfriend, or join some sports club and be content with these 3 years of high school. It would be great if I could have done that. If I had had a stronger willpower, I wouldn't have gotten sucked into all of this. I would have peacefully lived out these 3 years of high school and graduated normally. Hopefully it would have been like that. However, the reason I'm saying all this is because of all the strange events that happened to me afterwards. I believe everyone understands now. Where should I begin? Right, let's start from when the transfer student first came to the club room.